Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Okay, the honorable person, the president of ASEAN, Dr. Insinyur Heru Dewanto, Honorable Professor Sabaskan, the director and representative of Regional Science Bureau of Asia and Pacific, Honorable Dr. Yasuyuki Aoshima, Managing Executive Director and Secretary General of JABI, and Chief of Advisor of JICA. Honorable Professor Dr. Insinyur Misri, JABI Chairs, Honorable Michael Milligan, PhD, Director and CEO of ABET. Okay, first of all, I would like to welcome to all the workshop today who want to be discussed about accreditation for academic degree held by Association for Engineering Education in Southeast East Asia and the Pacific. In this occasion, we shall have outstanding presentations from 4 presenters whom we believe shall enrich our insight and knowledge regarding accreditations. And as we know, accreditation system, especially in engineering education, is unique in each country. And ASEAN is welcoming academics as well as engineering professionals to share and discuss issues related to the engineering education in their country. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, before we start the presentations, I want to inform you the agenda today. The first session is opening, we have opened just now, and the second is presentation time. The third session is opinion, question and answer, and the fourth session is closing remarks by the session chair. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, maybe now Prof. Sabas Khan is here. Prof. Sabas Khan. Okay, nice to meet you, sir. And Prof. Misri Gohan, are you okay? And Dr. Yasuyuki Aoshima, okay. For your information, I want to inform that Michael Milligan, PhD, not here because one reasons. So we start with the first presenters, but before that, I would like to inform that for the presenter, there are 30 minutes available. So for Mr. Sabas Khan, the time is 30 minutes, and you can give presentation 20 minutes because we will make question and answer in the last presentation of all of the presenters. Okay, before we invite Prof. Sabas Khan, I would like to inform curriculum vitae of Professor Sabas Khan. Professor Sabas Khan is UNESCO Director of Regional Science Bureau for Asia and the Pacific, and the representative for Brunei Darussalam, Indonesia, Malaysia, the Philippines, and Timor-Leste. Professor Khan has worked in Australia, France, Indonesia, and Pakistan in various research, consultancy, and policy positions. Before joining UNESCO, Sabas was professor and director at the Charles Sturt University, research director irrigation system at CSIRO, and program leader, system harmonization for regional irrigation business partnership as at the Cooperative Research Center for Irrigation Futures. For your information, if we talk about the curriculum vitae of Prof. Sabas Khan, there are many, and if we mention one by one, maybe the time is not enough. For this session, this time, I would like to welcome Professor Sabas Khan to give presentations, and the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, dear Professor Zainal. Thank you to all colleagues from ASEAP, and I'm very pleased to be here with you In fact, it has been almost 47 years when UNESCO started ASEAP, and the wonderful work which is going on. And I could listen to some of the reports from colleagues from different countries. So excellent progress is being made. So let me share with you what UNESCO is doing, which can help towards a better accreditation systems, and hopefully in the process there would be some ideas we can discuss at the end of this session. Okay, hopefully my slides are clear now. So, dear colleagues, I'm going to focus on the whole region. I will give you ideas from science, engineering, technology, and innovation. So basically, the bigger picture from what UNESCO is working on, and then we can certainly focus on what is the key involvement and engagement of UNESCO in the area of engineering education and engineering accreditation. So my office is for the Asia and Pacific. So basically 49 countries we are working with. UNESCO's headquarters is in Paris. And also, I'm sure you know, the World Federation of Engineering Organizations is also hosted by UNESCO there. So our relationship at the headquarter level and the regional level and with colleagues in ASEAN is very, very strong. So what we are trying to do here is to foster sciences. And I would also say that sciences include the engineering also, which many people can disagree. But in UNESCO's S, engineering is a very important part and technology is a very important part. We are looking into solutions at the global, regional, country level. So very much this idea of inquiry-based education at all levels, scientific knowledge, discovery, innovation. How do we bring science, engineering, technology for better economic growth? And also very importantly, how can we promote dialogue among different nations? So the work which you are doing to collaborate with each other is certainly very much important. And this cooperation is important for the Sustainable Development Goals, which we are working on, and how science, engineering, technology offers solutions to society. So in this regard, we are closely working with the Ministries of Education, for example, the Ministries of Science and Technology, also with engineering associations in the region. And we are trying to understand how can we help improve the areas related to science, engineering, technology, innovation, where we can help with better policy, better capacity building, and how engineering can help towards a sustainable future. So here we have the key vision which we are working in this office. So we are bringing together the transition which can come from science, engineering, and technology towards knowledge economies. And that includes agricultural, industrial, post-industrial, mass production economies to the Industrial Revolution 4.0. And how can we bring the technology and human capital into the next level of achievement by the whole region. I would also like to focus that the latest technological innovations, the new disciplines, the big data which is coming, how can we continue to nurture that so that there can be better informed decision-making, better knowledge, and certainly the education, which is well-informed education. STEM is a very important part of education, right from the primary all to the higher education levels. So in UNESCO, as you know, education, science, culture, communication, information, and human sciences, all of them are critical. So for today's meeting, I would say it's critical to think about education, the Sustainable Development Goal number 4, and of course the areas related to the engineering, which like for example, SDG number 6, which is about water, but also like 7, which is about energy. So all the areas of the goals are related to that. So here is the picture of Sustainable Development Goals, which we are working on. I mentioned to you goal number 6, Goal number 9 is also critical for today's meeting about science, technology, innovation, and how can we promote innovation. Sustainable cities, goal 11, climate change, and very importantly, areas related to environment. But also, engineering has to help us reduce poverty. It has to help us link with better health, which is critical, like the goal number 3 right now, which is because of the pandemic. So there are many solutions which engineering can offer. And the international collaboration, which is number 11. So how can we focus on STI for the SDGs? So that's where capacity building at the individual organization level, but also very importantly for looking into institutional capacities, the continuous professional development, the role of SCTI, and that's where accreditation systems are very. So there are a number of programs which are active in the region and globally. One of them is GoSpin, which is basically looking into policy about science, engineering, technology at the whole country level, also looking into the capacity systems, looking into also science policy society interfaces. STI systems and governance is a key area of work where we set the standards at the global level. And that's where also the role of the engineering and the engineering accreditation systems very, very critical in understanding what can be done. Also, we have here an which is about open science. And I will be speaking to you very briefly about the open science and the science policy and the engineering area. UNESCO is publishing UNESCO Science Report, which is very critical in terms of numbers of scientists, engineers, the trends from different countries, and also when we have indicators for technical development. And also we have an Institute of Statistics which is looking into these critical areas. So very important areas for looking into how can we support the future of science, engineering, and technology. Science system, engineering system, technology systems, and their governance, how different policy instruments can be put into place, what can be reforms in terms of laws and in terms of policy. We have a very active program on science incubation. That's where this concept, which has been mentioned before, how do you bring engineering education close to the projects which are going to change some of the local ideas of where innovation can take society to the next level. We have a number of programs about science incubation in a number of countries. Here in Asia Pacific, for example, Indonesia is very important country for us, but also we are working in other countries like Sri Lanka, Mongolia, and this work also goes across the region. So inter-regional work is also very critical. World Federation of Engineering Organizations is working with UNESCO on what we call the World Engineering Report. We had World Engineering Report in 2010. Currently, we are working on the second report, and there is a lot of interaction with the engineering organizations, and engineering education is a very important part of it, and how engineering can support the SDGs. We have a number of UNESCO centers and chairs, and I will be introducing some of them which are related to engineering education. And also very importantly, the training programs, capacity building programs, and how training and capacity building can help bring the academic institutions forward. The engineering related and science, engineering, technology at large, chairs are usually in universities, and those chairs are normally working across more than one universities, and centers are UNESCO centers which are supported by the governments. We have a number of prizes also which are related to the areas we are discussing today. So World Science Day, very important, but also UNESCO Kalinga Prize for the popularization of science. And we have also areas related to promotion of science, culture, and communication. There is a special area for women in science, which includes, of course, engineering and technology. supported by the L'Oreal. So gender is a very important part of our work. So in L'Oreal, there are eminent female engineers who are making them. Then we also have the STEM education and gender as a key part of a project supported by the Swedish government in Asia and also in Africa. And also we have International Day, which is about women and girls. And we are actively promoting and gender at various forums. There are a number of scientific collaborations which are important for engineering. So I'm sure you know about CERN, for example, the World Academy of Sciences, and also very importantly, the areas related to diplomacy, science diplomacy, engineering diplomacy, and how can we promote more of the water management, water engineering, water technology for better society. So diplomacy is a key area where we are closely also working with World Federation of Engineering Organizations. So diplomacy, science in diplomacy, science for diplomacy. So that's where, how can we bring member states together? In this regard, South-South cooperation is a critical part of our work. And we have been working with the government of Malaysia on a South-South cooperation program, where with the FIAP, the Federation of Engineering Organizations in Asia Pacific, we have actively collaborated with many countries, and I will give you some of the examples. So here are those category 2 centers and their countries, which are very closely related to engineering. So first, this center about science, technology, and innovation in what we call ISTIC in Malaysia. This particular center is promoting many engineering programs and also has been at the forefront of many capacity building programs. And South-South cooperation is the key part of its work. Then also we have centers related to space technologies. For example, in China, there is a dedicated center in China about research training for science and technology. And there is a center for the knowledge for engineering sciences and technology in China. So these are some of the examples. And certainly there are many more which are related to biotechnology, for example, which are also related to science incubation. I encourage colleagues to have a look at UNESCO website. And this may be also for colleagues who have joined today to think about their countries to propose such centers or be part of such efforts. UNESCO chairs, a critical part of our work, and I would like to draw your attention to one of the UNESCO chairs in continuing engineering education in China. These centers are hosted by the universities, and they are actively promoting cooperation with other countries. So there are many of them which are related closely to engineering, to higher education, to many areas of engineering which bring interdisciplinary aspects. Like, for example, also the center, which is UNESCO chair on engineering education in the Islamic Republic of Iran. So these chairs are the centers of excellence in their own universities, but at the same time, they are bringing much greater focus on engineering education. UNESCO and engineering, of course, as I said, is the long-term partnership with World Federation of Engineering Organizations. Also, very importantly, there is a shortage of engineers worldwide, which we fully acknowledge. There is a shortage of engineers from the point of view of mobility of engineers to be able to work from one country to another. Washington Accord has been mentioned today, and certainly very important then, and the other accreditation systems are very important. But what about those countries who are still struggling as least developed countries to move forward with their engineering education systems? How can we bring mentoring of engineers between different countries? from the Association of Engineers, from university to university contact, and very importantly, what are the career options for young people? And can we retain the talent in engineering? And also engineering is underrepresented in terms of participation of women. And drain from countries who really need the engineers while the opportunities are somewhere else. So these are the key issues which we are trying to work on in engineering, and that's where accreditation, mobility, they are the critical areas. So UNESCO has working closely with the university sector, with the engineering institutions, and there are very active programs with the women in engineering, sustainability and engineering, also the work related to renewable alternative energy technologies, SDG ready technologies. We will be able to follow up with colleagues who would like to know more about UNESCO programs. The engineering education report I mentioned, this was in 2010, and really a report which set the standards in understanding where the standards are in terms of STEM throughout the education system, where are the resources, where are the challenges, what are the challenges for quality engineering, and as we had at that time the MDGs, now SDGs. So here is work with the World Federation of Engineering Organizations. How can we promote together the sustainable development goals? And to promote sustainable development goal number 4, certainly critical. Goal number 5 is gender equality. And how can we bring them together for quality education? So these are the key areas, and we actively promote young people in engineering. Some of the activities in the region, here is an example from Timor-Leste. We are promoting engineers there, but also young people who are interested about science, technology, engineering, mathematics. So World Science Day is a day where we bring students together, inquiry-based science education, ideas from STEM, and also equipping some of the labs. This year, we have proposals from throughout the region, and we have selected some countries where we will be promoting engineering-related ideas as well. And I congratulate all engineers as a fellow engineer that now 4th of March is World Engineering Day. And if you want to celebrate that in this region, we will be very happy to partner with you, and accreditation can be part of that as well. So coming back to the accreditation and how can we promote accreditation in the world, there has been a system of mentoring. And here is the example of Pakistan with the FIAP accreditation guidelines and working closely with the Malaysian Institution of Engineers in Malaysia. They were the first ones to be graduated. Now they're also part of the Washington Accord. We are closely working with Myanmar.
Excuse me, Prof. Khan. Prof. Khan, excuse me.
Yes.
Could you please increase your volume? The sound is not clear.
Okay.
There is no sound. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much.
Is it better?
Okay. Okay, sir.
Oh, okay. So now in Myanmar, we have a similar process which is being undertaken, and also in Myanmar, they are now part of the process for accreditation and as a candidate for the Washington Accord as well. And Pakistan is mentoring Myanmar. So this is the kind of partnership which is going on. Also, we have done several workshops on accreditation and qualifications related matters, higher education related matters in Central Asia with the ECO Science Foundation. And also, how can we promote the engineering qualification and standardization with the higher education sector, for example, in Timor-Leste. In some countries, the standards, while the local engineers want them to be very high, the capacity is low, as well as there are serious challenges with regard to what we call the capacity of the institutions in terms of continuous professional development, in terms of their standardization at all levels. This is an example for what we did in 2017 in Jakarta, and we are very thankful for colleagues from various parts of Asia Pacific, and also very excellent contributions from Indonesia as well. And here you have the role what we can play in terms of South-South collaboration for standardization of the guidelines. And that's where we have been working closely with the FIAP on engineering qualification standardization, and how can there be more mentors, the one engineering association mentoring another one. So also this is a follow-up in again in Indonesia, and that's where there was a lot of discussion also about the Indonesian Act related to competence for engineering standards, and also the standardization, accreditation, those processes were discussed. The reports are available if anyone would like to have a further review. So this was dedicated about Indonesia. Also, very importantly, in Timor-Leste, we have been helping the local engineering chapter in terms of how can we build their capacity and how can they develop their own plan for qualifications to be standardized, as well as the standards in the universities are upgraded. So these consultations have been going on for quite some time. And we have also put a major focus on engineering in all our science, engineering, and technology innovation programs. And engineers have been very active part of developing our strategies for moving on the SDGs. Open Science is a new initiative of UNESCO. I would like to welcome all of you to have a look into what it means: open science, open data, open engineering solutions, and how can we bring engineers and scientists and innovators together. This is going to be presented to the General Conference of UNESCO, and it will become a standard in the world. And that's where big data, software engineering, those areas are of critical importance for the open science deliberations. So I'm coming more towards the end of where are we going now. So very important is to continue to raise awareness about the standards and standards related to SCTI. Technopreneurship is a big area for the region and for engineering organizations. So we have to work with technologists as well as with engineers. And we need to bring the political support for the formulation of the proper policies. Engineers should become job providers rather than job seekers. And that's where we need to have innovation in our education system, bringing technopreneurship into engineering degrees. Also public-private partnerships for encouraging technology transfer, for areas related to technoparks and technology incubation. The new emerging areas of artificial intelligence, the areas of software engineering, how we can bring young people, better coding, citizenship science, also critical area of local and indigenous knowledge, and how can we have more collaboration, which is South-South cooperation. Also, I would like to highlight there is a very big push for Asia and Africa. So what would be future directions? So we continue to work on engineering qualifications, continuous professional development for SDGs, and also in the areas of policy making and monitoring and evaluation. With that, I thank you and will be happy to take any questions. Thank you for giving an opportunity to UNESCO to be with you. Thank you very much, dear Chair.
Okay, thank you very much, Prof. Khan. I think this is a nice presentations. And for question and answer, we'll do in the last presentation now, after a presentation of all of the presenter.